work for me. This person's been referred to me, or, I've checked out their website. I can see how it's going to work for me. So they're in an aspirational mindset. But it's very few people in your entire customer or client mix that really ever get to that particular stage. At the front, we have strangers. A stranger has a headache. A stranger might not even know how you can help them, but they know that they have a headache. I think it was Henry Ford who once said, if I'd asked my clients what they would have wanted, they would have said a faster horse, right? Because they didn't know what they wanted. But if you think about who your target audience is and you go back to their headaches, what's their toilet paper, or what's the headaches that they have before they know they need you, you might be a web developer and I say, what do your clients need? And they say, oh, they need a new website. So no, your clients don't need a new website. That's a means to an end. Your clients are probably looking to sign more customers and clients. That would be the headache that they have before they know they need you. If someone said that their business is a retail shop, what's the headache that they have? It used to be foot traffic. Now it's probably how to sell something online. What are the headaches that your customers and clients have before they know they need you? When somebody has a headache, let's not try and sell them our core product and service. Why don't we just introduce them to a gift? And that's something that we began to do. So one of the gifts that we created at the beginning of the year was a cash flow confidence calculator. It was a simple little Excel spreadsheet. And what you could do is you could put in some data and it would tell you how much you can afford to spend on marketing and not go backwards. People loved it because they didn't know what they wanted. But they knew that they had to do something, right, to combat this scenario that they were presented with. So we gave them the cash flow confidence calculator. So strangers have a headache, we gave them a gift. And the headache was, I need to market my business, but I've got no money for marketing. But I'm not going to have any money for marketing until I can market my business so I can get some customers and clients. It's a catch-22. So we resolved that headache. Someone moves from a stranger to a suspect. A suspect is suspicious. So all they see are the obstacles. So imagine that you're selling like, a weight loss product and you go to a stranger and you say, I'm going to help you lose 6 kilos in 6 weeks. Now, I have to say, I personally have put on 6 kilos over the last 6 months. So if someone came and said, I'm going to help you lose 6 kilos in the next 6 weeks, I'd say, you're dreaming, right? That's not, but if someone said, hey, are you not fitting into your jeans or you're not feeling as well as you used to, that's the headache that I have now. But then they'd introduce me to their world and all I see is their obstacles. That's not going to work for me. I've seen other people do that. I've tried that. Someone else was talking about that. It didn't really work. So what we did is we introduced a product to tackle the obstacles, sometimes called a product for suspects. And we started to introduce these little things called 10-day challenges where people might spend $30 to $300 to learn how to do something. And the purpose of a product for suspects is to take someone on a journey so that they can go from A to B and they go, I now see how to do what it is that you were talking about. I now see how that might work for me. Then someone is in the prospect zone and we can introduce them to our core product. And I've introduced the word standalone. This was a big win for us, this realization. A core product needs to be standalone, i.e. beginning, middle, and an end. I pay my money now and it's over. And then when someone becomes a prospect, their aspirations are high. We can talk about ROI, return on investment. But once someone becomes a prospect or a client, when someone becomes a client, then we can introduce something called a continuity product. Now, if you've been around the block a few times, you will know that continuity products are where the money is made. Recurring revenue products. If you look at a business like Apple, richest company in the world, most profitable company in the world, every Apple employee represents $400,000 a year in profit. So when you walk past an Apple store and you see those 5 people hanging around, that represents 2.5 million in profit, right? That's where the money is. A lot of people realize that they introduce a continuity product to a stranger and it's like asking someone to marry them on the first date. So here's what we mapped out. We took a step back and went, what will our continuity product look like? What are some recurring revenue products that we could focus on that we could only sell to clients they would talk about their desires. A stranger won't believe you if you talk about their desires, either will a suspect or even a prospect. But when a client starts to get results, then you can talk about the bigger picture and you can talk about their desires. So a continuity product we only sell to clients. A core product we only sell to prospects. A P4S we only sell to suspects. And gifts are what we give to strangers. Someone comes into our world because they want the gift. They opt in to get the gift and we introduce our product for suspects. Now, a lot of people on the call right now probably are thinking, what might be my product for suspects, or sometimes called a tripwire? And what I would say, if you are selling a complex product or service, and yes, my wheelhouse is B2B, and most B2B products are complex, one of the simplest things that you could do is offer a strategy call or a strategy meeting, a mini audit, a mini assessment, something like that. So someone opts in to get the gift and you say, hey, you've got this problem. You would need this toilet paper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you get that toilet paper during a 45-minute strategy call. Not a discovery session, not a breakthrough session, not a, hey, let's catch up sometime and explore ways that we can work together. No one wants that anymore. Structure your meeting as you would if it was a product. Turn it into a thing. We offer a B2B funnel mapping session. Deliver 45 minutes of value via Zoom, over the phone. And then the last 15 minutes, if there's a fit, introduce your core product. Your core product could be a strategy, could be an audit, could be a mini course like in our world, a 10-week course. It needs to be standalone. Beginning, middle, and end. You don't want to ask a stranger to marry you, a borderline stranger. You don't want to ask a prospect to marry you. And then once you've completed that specific standalone project, or during the completion of that, introduce your continuity product. So the initial question was, how did this year change you, or how did it make you better? Well, the reason why this particular tool is so valuable is for a couple of reasons. One, in the Great Depression, people stopped buying big things, but they continued to buy little things, and we realized that. So what we did is we introduced little things, and we brought people into our world. Now, March and April, our revenue tanked, but we also, during those months, spent up big on Facebook ads. And from those Facebook ads, we almost made our money back selling $27 products and $97 products and those sorts of things. Didn't make entirely our money back, but made a lot back. The outcome of that is that March passed, April passed, then May came around, and a lot of those people had shifted from a stranger to a suspect to prospect zone. And the money started to increase again. We offered something small at the very beginning, and we focused on headaches, obstacles, aspirations, and desires for a very clear and specific target audience. You will also know that when you speak to future customers and clients, they always give you reasons for saying no, and have a think about that. What are the reasons why your customers and clients say no? I don't have the budget. It's not the right time. I'm not sure this is going to work for me. What you see on the screen is actually the ultimate objection buster. Because what we're doing is we're introducing incremental challenges. So we're not asking someone to play the hardest level of a computer game first. We're asking them to play the lowest level of the game. They play a little bit, they play a little bit more, they play a little bit more. And then before you know it, they're interested in the game. Suddenly things like budget become less of a problem because their budget increases. Suddenly things about it's not the right time become less of a problem because we've taken them on a journey. Trust suddenly vanishes because they can see how you can help. And then ultimately, and this is where I'm going to finish, we massively boosted the lifetime value of a client because we make money at the front, in the middle, and then in the end as well too, while delighting the people that we are working with at every step of the journey, and also largely without requiring any hard selling, because all we need to do is demonstrate the value that we can offer. Is that half an hour?
You're a legend. You're a legend, James. Thanks. Yeah, you're all good. I'm not sure if everybody, I mean, those who've remained on the call towards the end of the day, realise how much wisdom you've just passed over. that they can benefit from. And I'm just really grateful for you to step in and give that half hour or 40 minutes of your time to do that. I think everybody's just scribbling down lots of notes going, God, yeah, this is amazing, and I can apply this to my business and stuff.
Well, so whether it was 30 minutes or 45 minutes, I set aside the full hour.
You're good. I mean, I'm quite happy because it's to the end of the day and well, the end of our agenda for today. Just open it up. So if I'm going to stop sharing your screen now because I can't see the blinking chat again. But I don't know why that happens, and I didn't want to muck it up by playing around. But yeah, I think there's lots of people who love your catchy phrases there that now are tied to some bit of wisdom that they can take forward. And I've what I'm going to do now is open it up and get everybody off mute and just ask you some questions, right? If you can all behave yourselves and go in turn, that would be great.
Sure. Well, too, if someone is feeling brave enough to say, hey, let's brainstorm a product ecosystem for my business. I saw that Bree said, I've got a bunch of the pieces in place. And she's taken the mic off. If someone wants to do that, we can do that together. And what I know is that often when we brainstorm with one person, the rest of the group's going to go, yeah, because we have different business types. So if someone's like a B2C business or hospitality or restaurant or a trade or a B2B, and we brainstorm it for that person, it will be useful and applicable to other people. Should we do it, Bree?
Yeah, sure. Hang on, I'll close the door. The kids are playing PlayStation.
Can't be any worse than the drilling. I just remembered what's going on. It's we're on the second floor, and the people below us removing tables and cabinets. I saw trucks coming in this morning. I didn't think it was going to. Well, it hasn't bothered me all day. It's only when you flick on a webinar that the drills come out, isn't it?
But it's amazing, isn't it? Through lockdown and shutdown, how much the council have, well, certainly around my area, have improved the quality environment, fixed things up, and
yeah, it's all good. So Bree actually left a comment, and she said, "So useful. I've got the gift, the core, almost the continuity with the tripwire. That's new to me and could be the game changer." Tell everyone what you do, Bree.
So I spoke earlier in the day, and I think quite a few were listening. So I'm a diversity and inclusion consultant.
Okay.
And
now I feel bad picking you because everyone's going, "Oh, Bree again."
Yeah, we've heard me.
All right, so it's a consultant. Yep. All right, what I'm going to do is first I'm going to say, what do you think your continuity product looks like?
It's strategy development and evaluation and monitoring.
So it's like a monthly retainer type arrangement.
Yep.
What would be your core then? You've got the core and almost the continuity. What's your core?
So at the moment, it's an inclusive leadership course.
Okay. And how long does it go for?
It's self-paced learning, so they've got 3 months to do it, but typically 3 to 4 weeks.
3 to 4 weeks. All right. So that is definitely an example of core. I'm going to give another example for people who are not Bree and might have a more traditional business. But we had a guy called John Whitehead. And he's a consultant as well, and he would have a $30,000 project. So I'm bringing this up because there's going to be people on the call that do big projects, $30,000, $60,000, $100,000, whatever it's going to be. And they see that as their core. With John, what we suggested that he do is that he run a strategy day, and that would become his core. So he had a $30,000 product, which was his core. We said, why don't you do a $3,000 audit? And then off the back of that audit, you can introduce what you do at $3,000 a month over the next 12 months. $3,000 times 12 is 36, plus the 3 up front. He went to 39 in terms of his product. So that there is usually a good example for people who are selling a more sophisticated product or service. Your world, you've got a course. That's terrific. That's fine. That's easy, which means at the end, you need the membership. And the membership is the ongoing membership, and it's the ongoing support. But what you need to do is think about the desires of the people who are participating in your program beyond that. What's the next step for them? And you need to go back to the target audience to have a good hard think about that. So it might actually be about their careers if it's the type of person that's going into it. And that's what you build up from there. So for example, on the B2B school, we get people in at the front end because we're talking about how to book more meetings or how to get more leads. But when they're in the prospect zone, suddenly they're getting these outcomes, they're building waiting lists, and we start to teach them how to do things like increase their prices or increase their rates, stuff that they would never believe in the beginning. And we've had people up their rates by 800%, but they never would have believed it. You know, like you're going to lose 6 kilos in 6 weeks. All right, who's the target audience again, Bree?
Diversity and inclusion managers in
diversity and inclusion
large businesses.
I love it that you've got a target audience that we can name. Another lesson for everyone on the group. We have a game that we play called the Doctor on the Plane test. If I jumped on a plane and I said, is there a doctor on the plane? The 3 doctors stand up, and the doctor of history and philosophy of law does not stand up. But if I jump on a plane and I say, hey, is there anyone interested and excited by wellness? People kind of look at each other funny, right? You say, are there any diversity managers on the plane? And they go like that. That's terrific. That's fantastic for marketing. So everyone on the call, have a think about your target audience. How well can you name them, and would they pass the doctor on the plane test? I have people say, who's your target audience? Socially minded business leaders. Okay, I could go, I'm kind of socially minded. Yeah, I think I am. Am I a business leader? Well, it depends on how confident I'm feeling that day. But, you know, put your hand up on the call if you're a business leader. We all are, right? But however, if I said, are you the CEO of a not-for-profit? That is a socially minded business leader, yes? I'm a CEO of a not-for-profit. Bam. So it's good that you've got that. You've got that clarity in your audience. Which is why when I talked about the continuity, that is a middle manager, and a middle manager is always thinking about their careers. Even, you know, we talk about how we're going to help the organization, we're going to do this and that. It's always about their careers. What's your gift? You mentioned that you had a gift.
Yeah, I'm trialing 2 at the moment. One's an inclusive events guide, so helps those managers create more inclusive events in their organization. And the other is a webinar, a recording of a webinar I did.
All right, cool. So first things first, for a gift, always try and think of the headache that they have before they know they need you. What was the name of the first gift that you mentioned?
It's an inclusive events guide.
Inclusive events guide. All right. Does the target audience lie in bed at night and go, honey, I can't get to sleep because I need to hold an inclusive event. I need a guide. No, they don't. They lie in bed at night and they worry about other things. And that particular target audience, once again, because they're a middle manager, they're probably worried about their role within the organization, how other people perceive them, their career projection. And then there's that annoying Frank guy that keeps, asking dumb questions. And then there's that boss that just never listens to their ideas. So have a think about that more broadly, and you might actually be able to come up with something like the Inclusivity Manager's Guide to how to present ideas to your boss.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Within that guide, you can talk about what it is that you do. And what you should be doing is you should be creating a path to help those people become rock stars. Right? Within their organization, they're strutting down the hall and everyone's going, hey, it's the inclusivity manager. Yeah. That's the thought that you're getting them. Because in the beginning, they're unacknowledged and neglected, whatever. I can't get my ideas across. I feel like all I'm doing is keeping the seat warm, right? So that there can be a gift. Now, you mentioned that you had a webinar. That webinar, could it be your product for suspects? And the reason why is because in that webinar, you're probably talking about a journey, how to go from A to B, yeah?
Yeah.
You might want to, mess around with the angle depending on how transactional it is versus how, it's going to get them from A to B. I love the words how to. If you can't stick the words how to before a headline, you risk falling into opinion zone. And I can tell you that opinions are worthless, instruction is priceless. Would you pay Tiger Woods for his opinion about the PGA? No, maybe, probably not. Would you pay Tiger Woods to improve your golf swing? Yes. One is instruction, one is opinion. So if you can put how to before that, I'm going to show you how to go from A to B. That there is a great example of a product for suspects. Does anyone on the call have a strategy call, which is their model or modus operandi for signing up new customers and clients? Like, does pretty much every new customer or client relationship require a conversation? Rob said, love live example of the consult too. Where's Rob? There's Rob. All right. I'm going to boot Bree in just a second. So Bree, you could give away a free gift and then introduce your webinar, or you could introduce a strategy call. And with Rob right now, we're going to put together the structure for your strategy call and anyone else that wants to do that. Then the last 15 minutes of your strategy call, the last 15 minutes of your webinar, you should do the 10-week program. The 10-week program from week 3 should start seeding the continuity product. So you get to the end and you can introduce the continuity product. Because it's late in the day and energy is probably low and we've only got 4 minutes left, can we all give Bree a big virtual round of applause using the chat tool?
Oh, thank you. That's incredible.
And then we'll boot you. Rob,
Boot me.
you're a consultant too, are you?
Yes, on the side. I've got a day gig as well, so
You've got a day gig as well.
I've got a few hats to put on.
All right. So, what's the product or service that you sell?
At the moment, looking at and gave a demo earlier today on a online design sprint.
An online design sprint. Who's the target audience?
Target audience is business owners who are looking to improve their customer experience.
Improve their customer experience. So straight off the bat, I was talking about going narrow before with target audiences. I would go, what type of business is most likely to want to improve the experience of the customer or the client? So for example, does your audience include the local fish and chip shop owner? Because you said business owners. And the answer is no. But however, a SaaS company might, right? Software as a solution. Or even something like an online real estate business, have a think about it. Or it could be an e-commerce business. Then you can come up with a saying like, we help SaaS companies improve the online experience to help them get A, B, and C, which are the outcomes that they are specifically looking for. I have a saying, one person, one problem, one product. Name the person, name the problem, name the product. So it could be, for example, SaaS companies have problems with sign up and retention. And then that becomes the focus of your usability sprint or your design sprint. Over the design sprint, we're going to identify the ways that you're losing clients. And we're going to find ways to get you to sign up more people. One person, one problem, one product. Now I've just chosen SaaS out of my, wherever. I went up there. Not out of, from the sky.
The principles will apply, I get it, yep.
Yeah, and the principles will apply. All right. So then if that's the case, when you want to connect with a future customer or client and you want to have some sort of conversation, I know the business is new and it's a side hustle. Have you already begun to pitch having a conversation with you so far?
No, not really. I'm just ramping up probably over the next few months to start approaching people. So I'm thinking through all the sorts of things that you're talking about today. So it's great to get some extra insights and reaffirmation of a few of those concepts. That's really good.
Cool. Well, I'm just gonna give a formula. I love my little systems and formulas, like one person, one problem, one product. Doctor on the plane test. What's their toilet paper? What we encourage our clients to do is structure a vague invitation to connect in the way that you would structure the name of a product. So the formula, and I do highly recommend anyone that's in a similar position to Bree or Rob, anyone that sells in the B2B space or a complex product or service which requires a conversation. Outcome plus thing. That's the formula. Outcome plus thing. So things are things like an audit, an assessment, a strategy call, a planning session, an analysis. These are all words that we have grown comfortable paying money for. Consult no more. Unless you're in a medical profession, people think get your free consultation or no obligation quote. A consultation has lost its cachet. So have a think of all those words: audit, assessment, planning session. That is the thing component. Then think about the outcome that your customers and clients are desperately looking for. And this is an extension of that toilet paper. So outcome plus thing. So in our world, I think I mentioned before, we offer a B2B funnel mapping session. Sounds like really obscure, doesn't it? But what we can say is if you're run a B2B business, you've got all these different bits floating around everywhere, right? What we're going to do is over 45 minutes, we're going to map this out together so that you can have clarity, so that you can get some direction, so that you can all these different wonderful feelings that we're going to provide that person with. But it's B2B funnel mapping. I've named the target audience, B2B. Funnel mapping is the outcome. You get a funnel map strategy session. And what's really cool about this formula, good place to finish, since we are talking about reinvention and finding ways to bring money back into our businesses at a time when money seems to be tight in a lot of industries, is in the beginning, we can give that away for free, but over time we can start charging for those calls because we've presented it and structured it as we would a product. That's my 45 minutes.
Thank you, James. I think we are almost at time, maybe a tad over, but your advice is just too valuable for us not to listen to, and I'm sure we can. I'm sure we could. You know, and I really appreciate you coming on board here with all your wisdom and presenting to our local businesses here, and I think they'll all be quite well made up and you know, talk about what's happened today. Every single presenter and yourself to cap off the day. I think it was totally brilliant. Can't thank you enough. So I'm just going to pass over, I think, to Richard, who's our thanks, mate. Richard Hamilton, who's our Geelong Quality Council chairperson, just to say a few words and closing words.